I find myself wondering which of the three women on Easter Sunday said, no, I don't want to go to the tomb. I just can't face it. I can't go that close to the cross again. I can't go that close to the odor of death. I can't go visit that finality. And I wonder which one was the encourager, which one said, oh, please come with me. I suppose it really doesn't matter. Because if you notice, the way John tells it is a little different in his gospel. He doesn't talk of the three women. He just focuses on Mary. Tells the story of one woman. And I kind of like that. It makes it a highly personal experience, this walk to the tomb. It reminds me that it really doesn't matter who resisted and who encouraged. What matters is Mary made the journey. And what matters a lot of times in our lives is that we make the journey. In tracing this single woman's footsteps, John gives us the chance to explore, I think, this resurrection at a deeper level. There are points in our lives when something hurts so much that we don't even want to speak of it, because it causes us to quake on the inside, and sometimes even our hands to shake a bit. When hopes are dashed and innocence is bruised, we don't want to revisit the pain. And yet we find ourselves at some point compelled to revisit the pain so that we can find the healing, the wholeness, the understanding that is needed to go on. And so it is that Mary shuffled toward that tomb. And there Mary is standing at the tomb alone, and she is thinking back and looking at what is, and she's trying to find the wherewithal to make sense of it all. Or she's just stuck. It's not quite clear. Back to Ron and his sister and their mom, Betsy. They arrived in the Ukraine, and they took that mom back to the villages that had been her home, and the village in particular that had been her home. And they expected tears, but what they had instead, suddenly their mom came alive. She started telling stories of the people of the village and where things were, and her first love, her puppy love with someone. She started telling jokes. She came alive with good memories. And Ron and his sister watched as their mom began to heal in a new way. And it was beautiful for them. What Ron and his sister had understood of their genealogy, black and white photographs is what they had in their mind of all the horrors and the atrocities. And suddenly their mom was bringing color and beauty to it all and telling them of the land before the pain. They discovered Betsy's grandmother's grave. And they discovered that Betsy's grandmother had actually died before the Nazis had invaded, and that felt like a comfort to all of them. She had died of natural causes, and it felt like a blessing. They also discovered that some had lived that they hadn't thought had lived, and so they met relatives who had survived. It was at Betsy's grandmother's grave that Ron found himself asking the question. He talked to the tombstone and he simply said, what can I do to honor your memory? What can I do to honor the legacy that you passed on to our family? Mary Magdalene stood at the end of the tomb. And we don't know what her questions were, but no doubt she was sorting through endless emotions and trying to put the pieces together and trying to think of a way to honor this Jesus who had taught her so much. Ron said, when I asked my great-grandmother how I could honor her, it was like I heard the words loud and clear in my heart. She said, life is a blessing, my son. Be happy. Across 60 years, suddenly he was hearing a great-grandmother's voice, a healing voice, a voice that gave direction to his life. Life is a blessing, my son. Be happy. Mary stands at the tomb, and suddenly she hears Mary. and she knows it is Jesus. It's only been 3 days. But death is death, and tombs are tombs, and terrorism is terrorism, be it a first century cross or a 21st century bomb. But terror is not the last word. After the terror, Mary hears Jesus speak her name. It had been just 3 days, but suddenly her grief begins to melt. Jesus invites Mary to discover the blessing that has come out of all the pain and the loss. Jesus tells Mary there's a new way to live life. But Jesus gave Mary a mission, and I'll paraphrase it. Jesus essentially says, go tell the story. Tell what happened to you right here, right now, and how you felt. And then tell them that I go to my parent and your parent, I go to my God and your God. But start out telling what happened to you right here and right now. Talk theology later. Start with being happy is what Ron tells his students and leaders who are seeking to make a difference and sometimes get discouraged. He works out in Harvard and Cambridge with those who are leaders, who get very weary and very discouraged, and he tells this story of his grandmother, his great-great-grandmother, and what it meant to him. Because he wants others to know that if you start out with being happy and finding peace, you'll have the energy to do something to change the world. Followers of Christ, I can say nothing less than remember life is a blessing. And God is the transformer of every struggle we have. God will leave no stone unturned until the blessing is revealed. God will leave no injustice ignored until it is righted. God will leave no tear undried, no heart unmended, no wound unhealed. God will not allow death to be the last word for us, for those who remain on earth or those who go on to the next side. And there's a question that comes out of that for us. The same question that was really posed to Mary. What will we do with it? How will you use your God got me through this story to encourage someone else? How will you tell the Easter story? Will you use words or gifts or little books for the lending library outside? Will you do things and support the growing Sunday school? There was 75 people at Easter sunrise worship this morning, and a lot of you know you weren't those people. It was a different group. I mean, some of you were, but a lot of you weren't. How fantastic. We went through a list of people, new people to Grace the last couple of years. It's 20 households in 2 years. What kind of difference is that making? Ask Stephanie. They put together a piece this morning where each of the kids shared something where God had transformed them. The hurt, the healing. Beautiful, powerful words. Maybe you'll tell your story with your voice in the choir, or your hand on a bell, or your nostrils and your clothes filled with the aroma of donuts, or your laughter in the kitchen, or an invitation to that growing Sunday school. A couple of weeks ago, we had 37 kids up here. You can invite people to something like that and tell them they aren't the first new person, and their kid won't be the first new person. The point is to notice and to focus on what feeds your soul, what gives you energy, how has God lifted your spirit, how has God given you a new beginning, and then go out there and try to help someone else find that new beginning. If nothing else, step back and make a plan. Ask yourself, what is the best way I can share good news and happiness with the world? And then once a week, show up at church and take a second before worship to ask yourself, how have I shared good news this week? How have I been a messenger of Easter and hope and goodness in this world? How have I said the tomb is empty and Jesus is alive?